Hey, it's time for us to talk about the third micro habit, intellectual sharpness. Now, intellectual sharpness is all about engaging in continuous learning and connect with your professional communities. Now, it is like embracing the diverse culture, diverse experiences, and offer to enrich your life. Language practice. So when I say language practice, I'm not talking about learning a new language like French, Spanish, or something else, which is that you see in Canada. And Canada, in most places, of late, it is increasing that people are asking for some bilingualism, which means that the language that I'm talking is not about learning a new language as in total, but it's more about the language that is relevant to your industry, the language that is relevant to that is industry specific, reviewing some industry specific materials is a micro habit that you can that can significantly sharpen your intellectual activity, because the more you are knowledgeable about the industry terms, how they are used here in Canada, versus how you have used in the past at the place where you come from, could be different, you know. So the term may be same, but the way they use it here could be different. So it is important for anybody in any industry to be aware of how the industry specific terms are used as a language here in Canada at any workplace. Now that will help you become more effective, and not just by increasing your individual effectiveness, but this intellectual sharpness will also enhance the team effectiveness, and not having that sharpness may impact the team effectiveness and then the overall effectiveness of the organization. So we don't want to be somebody who is being ineffective in the whole team. So if you want to be more effective, I would still recommend all of us, including myself, to learn how the industry terms are used in different work environments. No, there could be many vocabulary that is used across different industries. So if for example, if I'm in HR, so probably I want to learn how the different HR terms are used in Canada, which are different from the same terms used from the place where I come from. So you may want to have that match, and then talk that language when you're talking to people from your own industry, so they understand what you are referring to. And similarly, you'll be able to understand what they are saying when they use industry terms that are pertinent, or more importantly used in Canadian environment. This not only keeps you updated of the latest trends and treatments, but also improves your understanding of the terminology and become fluent in your industry. So which makes communication with your colleagues and anybody more effective. So regardless of whether you are in IT or finance or in education, regularly engaging with this language in your field can help you stay sharp and communicate more effectively in your workplace. Drawbacks of being intellectual dullness is one is on missed opportunities. So probably if you are not showing that you are staying up to date with the industry trends, probably you might miss on your next promotional opportunity, or you might miss on being on an exciting project, so because other team members or your manager may not be seeing you staying up to date with industry trends. So don't miss on those opportunities. And like the other two areas, the intellectual dullness might also impact your decision making skills, because you are not informed about a latest change now. AI is everywhere now. So suppose if you're not understanding what AI can do in your industry or in your field, probably you might be missing on an intellectual discussion that is happening within your team on a particular project, or if there is a requirement for somebody to be part on an interesting project that is related to AI, you might miss on that opportunity, and you don't want to miss that, and to show that you are up to date. So practice talking in the industry language, or try to be more improve your intellectual sharpness, and show that in your workplace, either at your college or at your workplace. No, being the intellectual dullness can also hinder the adaptability and responsiveness to your challenges. Now, like I said, in this example, so suppose if, as an HR, if my team is adapting an AI technology to screen the applications for the jobs that we receive, and if I'm not aware of what kind of practices that industry is following, probably I might miss out on an opportunity, and I might be I may not be effectively talking in such discussions, and being less responsive to any challenges that the project or the company is talking about. So which means that they might see that my quality of participation might be decreasing, so which is a decreased quality, or quality conversations, or I might myself present myself as incompetent to be part of an intellectual conversation, uh, among other things that I've been noticed for. So we don't want that. We don't want to stay back, by portraying that we are not interested in that topic, or we can't speak more confidently because we are not aware of it. So let's improve our intellectual sharpness. And intellectual dullness would also reduce your ability to collaborate with others for all these reasons, right? Because you don't have enough knowledge, you don't have enough confidence to talk about this topic, you don't have uh, uh, update on latest industry trends, how it can solve the problem that your team is trying to solve. It might lead to, it might portray that you are not collaborative in the team by participating in giving some good ideas, or understanding what the conversation is all about. Now, I had this challenge in my very first job, when I had to sit in some fireside chats, and not aware what's happening there. And I took little extra time in understanding what was happening there, because it is all technical, but it is also important for me to understand as a HR guy what the project is all about, how are they trying to solve, and what kind of skill sets that the projects might be looking at as they progress. Although my objective was to understand all this, because it was all going over my head, I was little effective at the beginning, but then I had to improve my intellectual sharpness to understand what the technical terms they are talking about, and how these technical terms are useful for me in framing a new job description, as we try to hire maybe somebody who is good at Python, so somebody who is really good at Tableau, etc. All these technologies. So it's not just really about your own industry, it is also important to develop that intellectual sharpness, cross-functional intellectual sharpness, so you are not left alone, and you still want to show that you are collaborative with your team, you can present your ideas well, and then you can also be part of the team uh, without having any influences. And now is the time for us to see what are the 5 micro habits that we can develop to become more sharp intellectually. So I so like I said at the very in the very first job, I had the difficulty of coping up with understanding the technical terms, which are important for me to be big effective at my own job. So I scheduled some learning time. So which means that out of the 24 hours that I have made sure that I have some time that is set to learn the terms that are used in that company, not in the whole industry, which is very difficult for any one of us to learn, but what terms that are more frequently used in that company, by referring to the glossary of terms that is available there, or making going on internet to find how do I understand what kind of technical competencies or technical skills that people in the fireside chats are talking about. And so how did I increase my intellectual sharpness? By scheduling learning time, and then also engaging with professional communities. So me being an HR professional, now today I'm part of several HR communities, either on LinkedIn or any other associations like HRPA, who, and I also, these days I also participate in 2 networking events every other Thursday, where senior people from HR would come and discuss on a specific topic. So these are all opportunities for me to understand and stay updated with what's happening in the world, in the HR world specifically, and how the other industries are influencing HR as a function, and what are those things that we need to understand as HR professionals. And so all this information would help me in being effective at my meetings and at my work, and bring some of those ideas and discuss them more confidently, showing that I have intellectual sharpness, and I stay abreast with uh, the where the industry is moving, how the trends are changing. Like I said, the third one is language practice. Language practice is about the use of vocabulary that is more commonly used in your own industry, and the use of vocabulary that is most commonly used in your own company across different functions, so everybody would understand them. And the fourth one is the practice sessions. Now, the practice session is all about, it's not just about scheduling time and learning new things, it's about applying the new learning. So the best way of showcasing that you learn something and you are a quick learner is by applying that learning and in every opportunity that you get. So like I was using all my knowledge gathered from different conversations on different platforms. I apply this knowledge in my work to showcase that I am participating in events, I am contributing to the industry, and I'm also learning from them, and I can apply that learning in the company for its own benefit. And lastly, the fifth micro habit that I would recommend as part of enhancing your intellectual sharpness is cultural immersion. So you see me talking about this culture in almost in every habit, because that is what we'll have to develop to become more successful in a new environment like Canada, right? And because we are all working with diverse cultures. So attending industry events and workshops, especially for hands-on learning on how the culture is playing a role in enhancing your workplace, or how culture is playing a role in driving the problem solving. So how the diverse people, diverse thoughts are driving the problem solving ability in the organization. So that is all about cultural immersion. So how people from different diverse backgrounds are thinking about a particular problem, and how the problem is being solved in work environment is your intellectual sharpness on immersing yourself into a new culture. So how can you do that? By actively attending the industry events and then workshops. Not just events, you can also see some workshops. Most of them are free these days, as you can find them on LinkedIn, or you can find them on you'll see a lot of ads on Instagram these days. Go take time, attend these free webinars and free workshops, and find something new, or learn some. If you're learning something new, you come back and apply at your place, either at your work or at your study, and show that you are not left alone, but you are enhancing your intellectual sharpness. Let's move on to the fourth one, staying emotionally well balanced.